Ilhan Omar. Isn't Ilhan Omar, she's like one of the greatest Congress people we've ever had. She's one of the greatest politicians America has ever had. Ilhan Omar. She was the only one that stood up against the Venezuelan war when she was sitting there asking those piercing questions for that fucking war criminal, Abraham something, I think. So Ilhan Omar stands up against the Venezuelan war in splendid solidarity, and even asking the warmongers in broken English, what the fuck are you doing? So not even AOC came out against the Venezuelan war, and Bernie said that Maduro was a dictator. He said he didn't want a war with Venezuela, but he did give a pretense for a war. And so, you know, a known war criminal doing some more war criminal shit, Ilhan Omar stood up. And then she just recently passed the Student Debt Cancellation Act. You have all these Christians out here, right? All these Christians, and Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, it's the Muslim and the Jew that actually gives a shit about my finances, that actually gives a shit about the students, the people that want to better their lives, gain a skill so they can be more useful to society. Those are the people we're going to punish. Nobody gives a damn about those people. They're drowning. People are drowning in student debt. It's the next big bubble that's going to collapse this entire country. $22 trillion, right? We got plenty of money to kill a bunch of brown Mexicans on the border, plenty of money to kill a bunch of brown Palestinians, plenty of money to kill 1 million brown Iraqis. I'm sick and tired of white America killing brown babies. I'm so fucking sick and tired of it. Yeah, when it comes to Christianity, it means you're a good person and you're moral and you give a shit about people's life, like, you know, health care and not murdering people, not murdering brown babies. So I absolutely adore Ilhan Omar. She's Muslim, she's Congresswoman, she's from Minnesota. She's, you know, one of 435. She's one of the distinguished. Who the fuck knows who the hell, what's, my guy is, Scott Tipton. Yeah, so Scott Tipton, who's just a rank and file Republican, goes along with, he's not a leader, he's not, you know, standing up for this issue or that issue. So I wish my representative was Ilhan Omar. I wish we had, you know, hundreds of Ilhan Omars in the Congress. We need hundreds more Muslims just like Ilhan Omar in the U.S. Congress. And she doesn't need to go back to where she came from because we need to keep her. We need to hold on to her. If she does go back, she needs to bring some more people just like her. Bring some more in. And then she needs to come back here. So Ilhan Omar, plus she's a congresswoman. So that's, you know, a better American than most Americans. You know, some Americans go vote. Other super Americans stand up and they're the representative for their entire district. So Ilhan Omar is more American than most Americans. And she's speaking up for shit that matters. She's speaking up against the end of war. Is that what the Muslim beliefs are? So Christians want to war and kill people. The Israel wants to, you know, war and kill people, but it's the Muslims that want to stop the Venezuelan war. It's the Muslims that's for peace. And you guys are opposed to that. She's making you look dumb, right? So I want more Ilhan Omars. Ilhan Omar, come to Colorado. Be my representative. Bernie Sanders, come to Colorado. Please become, you know, Bernie is going to be the president. That's inevitable. So, you know, we just need to start planning how we're going to build the infrastructure and apparatus underneath him. Bernie Sanders has got this in the bag. Who's going to beat him? Fucking Joe Biden? You think Joe Biden's going to beat him? My God, he doesn't have a single progressive idea on his platform. He's going to have to win Democratic voters. So he's only going to appeal to the right-wing Democrats. And if the party's full of right-wing, you know, Republicans, why are you even in the Democratic Party? Joe Biden should definitely run in the Republican primary and try to primary Donald Trump because he's more in line with the views of Republicans than he is the views of progressives. So let's talk about Ilhan Omar's legislation. So it's called the Student Debt Cancellation Act. So Ilhan Omar of Minnesota went ahead and opened this legislation, started this legislation, initiated it, and also Bernie Sanders has released a part of this he's got a bigger package, so this is one of his planks. So if you look at Ilhan Omar wanting to cancel all the student debt in America as being radical and extreme, well, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Bernie Sanders. He doesn't want to just cancel everybody's student debt, but he also wants to give everybody free education. So, oh man, you know, it's, so I'm going to get into the details. So, Ilhan Omar. She is doing something bigger than Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren wants to wipe out all student debt for 75% of the borrowers. So Elizabeth Warren, she's going to cancel all the debt for all those students who have $50,000 or less in student debt. So that's 75%. That's the majority of the people, but it doesn't take care of me. It doesn't take care of me. I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I went to Xavier University, went there 2 years, finished my undergraduate work, political science at University of Louisville, and then I went to work on my graduate degree, and I wound up getting fucked over because I questioned authority and a bunch of authoritarian right-wing pieces of shit, the teacher training school. So I went to a graduate school, which is more money, and it was such a waste. It was absolute waste. So I did 2 years at Spalding University. I did 1 semester for Campbellsville University. I think it's Campbellsville, some place online. It was in Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky. And they fucked me over. I spent $60 grand to get an education. I did everything they wanted. I got straight A's, so I did exactly what they wanted. And then, because some piece of shit asshole was just being a fucking dick to me and bullying me, they took, you know, they just said, well, you know, you were supposed to make her happy, and, you know, she was being an asshole to you. I think it was because I took it. Anyway, $60,000. I'm not a happy customer, so I feel like I got fucking robbed of $60,000. What happens when that happens? You spend your money, you go to the college, and it's breach of contract. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't give you any skills. They didn't help you network, and they didn't, you know, help you get a job. They didn't help you graduate. They fucked you over. They fucked your life over. 60 grand for, you know, people. There's plenty of people's going to fuck your life over for free. So, I mean, to pay somebody 60 grand, I could have bought my own house. I could have bought a land. You know, a piece of ground I could have invested in a business, and if I would have invested in a business, I would be making money today. Instead, I went to, you know, did the right path that I was told that everybody thought was the right path. Go to fucking college, make something of yourself. College is a bullshit sham. And so when it comes to Xavier University, when it comes to University of Louisville, you know, I got I got a degree from University of Louisville, so I got a political science degree. I got a bachelor's degree, an MA, a BA, a Bachelor of Arts in political science. So I got a 4-year degree. And so that's something. So I can't, you know, I can't be like as shitty to Xavier University and the University of Louisville as I am to Campbellsville and Spalding University. So fuck these colleges. They're pieces of shit. Teacher training was like, you must be, the person that fucked me over was Julie Chancellor, and she thought I was supposed to be some sort of apprentice, but the law says it was going to be co-equals, and so we just had sort of a, I guess, a personality conflict. But I could, you know, I could tolerate the asshole, but the asshole just wanted me to be an obedient piece of shit. Go here, do this, do that. How come you fucked up? Because you're a fucking prick. We're supposed to be co-teachers. So she told me that in the very beginning that I must yell at the students. You must yell at the students. That's, you know, teaching 101. I've heard, you know, another teacher say you got to be a bitch. You have to be a bitch. You got to be shitty. You got to be dicks. I've heard teachers tripping kids in, you know, in the hall. They have to be the oppressors. There's 30, you know, shitty little kids, and they want to oppress them. That's how Spalding University, Campbellsville University, their teacher training programs, that's how they view all humanity, just a bunch of dumb fucks that need to be oppressed, and then you fill their brains up with, you know, all the, your great wise knowledge, your stupid-ass PowerPoints and bullshit. Your information, it's not, you know, education is experience, all the rest is information. That's Albert Einstein. Spalding University doesn't know that, they don't understand Albert Einstein's take on education, and it was just a horrible, it was a horrible 2 years, and then they fucked me over at the very end, so it was a horrible 2 years, and then they fucked me over. Yeah, fuck Spalding University. 60 grand, I gotta pay $60 fucking $1,000 for them criminal, thieving-ass pieces of shit. If they truly gave a shit about me, then they should have said, hey, don't even come here, keep your money. Actually, why don't you take your money and invest in a business so that way you'll be able to survive out here. So that's the thing about oppressors. They just want you to shut up, sit down, I'm the boss, you're in my class. Well, do you care if I get a drink of water? Do you care if I'm eating? Do you care if I survive out in this world? Do you give a damn what the fuck happens to me? You're going to tell me this, all this PowerPoint information to oppress me and treat me like shit. Actually, by being obedient to oppression, that's going to hurt you. That will hurt you in the long run. That hurts your soul, hurts your humanity, and then it also hurts your reputation. Who's going to respect, just some obedient fucking bitch? And, I've been robbed, people. So if anybody that gives you orders, you just got to obey. So if some criminal says, hey, give me all your money. All right, here's all my money. Fuck it. That's not good advice for life. You have to stand up and you got to be proud. And all Spalding University did, they didn't teach me social studies. They didn't teach me history. They didn't teach me to be a better person at my craft that I was going to teach. You had to pick the subject, so you had to go in for science, go in for English. They didn't teach science. They didn't teach English. They didn't make anybody better at their craft. If you're a good welder, you could teach welding. But if you're not a good welder, they're putting out a bunch of fucking so-called teachers that don't even know how to weld, don't even know shit about history, don't even know shit about shit. And all the students that was in teacher training class, I don't relate to them. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like to be oppressed. They seem to love their oppression. They seem to not question anything. They're being oppressed now, so when they get the power, then they can do the oppressing. Because that's, we don't know how to get along with each other unless there's somebody being a fucking prick, an asshole, an authoritarian asshole. Shit. So our public schools need an overhaul. I question education, but they're so sensitive, just by questioning education, it blew their fucking minds. So it just makes me, it kind of shows, I look behind the curtain, I see eyes. Public education is a bunch of fucking bullshit. They're a bunch of totalitarian oppressors. And they don't believe in freedom and democracy. And they don't give a damn if you succeed in this world. They're making you do a bunch of goddamn pointless bullshit work, a bunch of busy work. You're not getting paid for it just so they can feel like boss. They're getting paid. They get the power. They get the money. And you don't get nothing. The students are on the bottom of the totem pole. What a dumb fucking system. What an ignorant-ass system. So needs a lot of reform when it comes to the education, public and college. So that's my college experience. There's Elizabeth Warren, her plan will not wipe out my debt. Ilhan Omar and Bernie Sanders' plan will wipe out my debt. And then it's going to be 100% across the board. So whereas Warren, Elizabeth Warren will have caps. She'll go ahead and cap the thing. And so they have means testing. So now you got to say, well, who's worthy, who's not worthy? How much money? Is it just $50,000 and that's it? It's all part of the Treasury. So really, all it would take is just deleting it because it's all on the computer. It's all electronic, and it's one of the things you're not allowed to. Joe Biden made sure nobody could declare bankruptcy to get rid of their student debt, which is fucking fantastic. So it's basically, if you get a fine, right? If you commit a crime and they make you pay $100 because you hurt somebody, you attacked somebody, or you did something, you let your dog bite somebody, now you got to pay $100. So that $100, they don't mind taking that $100 from you. Wait, what? Anyway, so when it comes to the student debt, it's means tested. You got Buttigieg, Mayor Pete, who's sitting there saying that when it comes to health care, we're not going to provide, education, we're not going to provide education for the rich kids. And so we're just going to have a line of demarcation. When you have Social Security is the most important legislation. Social Security is the most popular legislation, most successful legislation in U.S. history. And when you have a crystal clear cut goal of what legislation, of what this intends to do, so Social Security, take care of the old people. We've taken care of the old people since Social Security's come around. And then a lot of our, finances is based upon borrowing off of that Social Security Trust Fund because it's so, it's so powerful and it's so resilient. So Social Security to make it, the argument against having means tested to allow the rich kids to have a universal policy is that it's simple. and it'll be more popular, it'll be easier to understand. If you add means tested, if you say, well, how rich are you or how much do you owe, then you're adding more bureaucracy. Now someone has to go through and sort it all. So, everybody, if you went to college, you try to do your thing, I could go and try to sue this, sue them in federal court. I'll need, lawyers, and I'll need some money. I'll need to, if I don't have the money or the lawyers, I'll need to figure it out myself. And I'll still need, gas money and filing fees and shit like that. So I'll need some money, and then I'll have to educate myself. So, how can I get justice? How can I get justice? This is just such an asymmetrical relationship. Since I've been in kindergarten all the way to graduate school, it's an asymmetrical relationship. They don't give a damn about me. They don't care about my life. They don't care where I'm coming from. Shut up, sit down, I'm the boss, I get paid. And as long as they can get you to comply in their little 30 minutes or 1 hour of classroom, then, they feel like they did something. They didn't do shit. They've hurt you. You only retain 5% of lectures, so they're making you into a passive, obedient little drones, and you're only retaining 5% of the information. So you're barely even getting, information, maybe somewhat educational, but you're only getting 5% of it. When as experience, teaching others, and discussion, we learn so much with experience, so much with discussing, different ideas with folks, and teaching. You retain 90% of all that you teach, so only the teachers, only the professors are actually getting the education, so they just need a captive audience, and then, do this and do that, so I'm the boss. You gotta laugh at all my jokes, I'm the smartest person in the class. So it's just a big shit show parade, just the Wizard of Oz. It's one big fucking illusion, and it teach like a champion, you gotta oppress, and so this is what they're, teaching in teacher training school. Not to be a better welder, not to be a better engineer, not to be good at math and science and technology, but to be a good oppressor, to be a good classroom manager, to be shitty to the students, to be a bitch. This is direct quote. So this is a female teacher says you got to be a bitch, in order to run your class, you got to be a bitch. Okay, fantastic advice. I've heard people, I hate those people that try to be friends with the students. Why? Because the students they don't need, friendship from anybody. Like, why is that something you hate? I hate it when, adults are, because nobody needs friendship, nobody needs someone. No, fuck you. If I'm going to send my kid into your school and you're going to make sure that you're not friends with fuck you. I don't want anybody teaching my kid who don't like my kid. You're not even friends with my kid, so you're going to treat him like shit. No, I don't need that. You're going to be a bitch to my kid? Why would anybody, a good parent do that? Oh, you're going to, get yelled at. Oh, okay, here, go to school so you can get yelled at and you'll be obedient and compliant. Oh, okay, now I get it. The fathers and the mothers who are oppressors want to send their kids to school because they're oppressors too, and so you got this, sick symbiotic relationship between the households and the public school system, which is just to oppress, and you got to put violence, right? Oppression, you have to use violence to make sure oppression happens. I'm going to try to talk about the details of this, but I went on and on about my own shit. So I think I'm going to come back, just a couple facts, I guess, to end this off. A lot of people, there's 7.8 million borrowers who owe $50,000 or more. So you got nearly 8 million Americans, and that's 17% of all the student debtors. So she's, not taking care of 25% of 17% of the student loans. And everybody who got graduate degrees, they're not just lawyers and MBAs. So some people go to medical school, some people go to law school. Law school, you need, $250,000, so it's impossible to go to law school. And to get into medical school, I mean, maybe you could work on being, a nurse or something, but to be like a full-fledged doctor, and there's problems with the medical industry too. But it's not, if you had a doctor's degree or a lawyer's degree, well, I think that guarantees you a job better than, going through Spalding University's school of hell and oppression. So many borrowers pursued graduate degrees that, didn't lead anywhere, or there's a lot of schools that are corrupt and they will fuck you over and they don't give a shit. There's a lot of psychopathic schools out there. So it's, it might just be, it's turned into its own thing, this big-ass, monolithic, bureaucratic monster. The average debt load for those who completed a Master's of Education degree was $55,000, right? So you get $55,000 in debt just so they could, teach you to be shitty to the students, not to improve your craft, not to teach you to be inspiring or to pique their curiosity, but to just tell them to, get disciplined, get them in a routine, train them like the bunch of obedient fucking bitches that they are, hate them before they even walk in the classroom. Teachers have given up on students before they even walk into the classroom. And then also black and Latino graduates, they're getting hit the most too when it comes to having just a bunch of shit. So there's a racist element to this. There's Master of Science, you're getting, $62,000 in debt. What are you going to do with the Master of Science? So you know a lot of shit about the world, so, can you get a research project? What are you going to do, So you got 62 grand, so you start out not with zero debt, you start out negative $60,000. It actually overall for, everybody being college students, it's really fucking dumb what, these college students are doing. I incurred a shit ton of debt. I come from, I had a shitty childhood, so I didn't really like my household or my school system, so I couldn't wait to get the fuck out. And they would have, if it was $1 million, I would have signed the damn papers just so I could get the fuck out. So it was an opportunity to get out of the situation that I was in, but then I had to adopt all their fucking, shit that I ran into. And if you're curious about the subject, then it's smart to, be obedient. You want to be fit, you get a personal trainer, right? But that's you choosing to get an oppressor to do something that you want to do. School is not like that. School is not like that. Even with your elective classes, yeah, you might be able to teach, pick the subject, but the overall operation of the room, it's not going to have a culture of freedom and democracy. It's not going to have patience. They're not going to say everybody's going to be friends, so that way you can network, so that way you all can look out for each other, that way you can get jobs, good jobs. So you need good friendships. You need, the information. You forget a lot of the information. So really you need good friendships, and then you need experiences of how to, sort of get along with one another and how to get into the work environment. It's not real or relevant. Our education system needs to be real and relevant. And it's not real. If I was real in class, there's so many fucking times people are just fucking shitty to me. Oh, you're the white man, so you're the one that's in charge and you're responsible for all the world's ailments. Okay, well, that's you defining me as white. You're the one being the racist, and that's also, white people, Jesus Christ. White liberals, that's how far they've moved. Malcolm X debate team is University of Louisville. They say, well, since white people have been racist to black people, then the solution is for white people to be racist against white people. That's the fucking solution. That's the solution. More racism. It's like white people just have to be racist. White people can't see, life in any other terms but their racist perspective. Either the white guy or the black guy, somebody's to blame, right? And then if it's, well, you've been too racist to him, so we're going to be racist to you now, and that's, that's justice. What about this other person that's, fighting for black people and loves black people? Well, you got privilege, so you're all a bunch of racists, and that's why I hate all you white cracking motherfuckers. Sounds like you're justifying your own racism now. So anyways, fucking white people. That's all you got is racism, right? If you're not being racist to blacks, you're being racist to whites. Why don't y'all just start loving each other for the individuals that we are? Who gives a shit what fucking color you are? Fucking racism. Talking about 2019, we're still talking about fucking racism. Wiping out debt. There's holding back 44 million U.S. residents have student debt, so wiping out the debt doesn't just help a small minority, it helps out 44 million U.S. residents, which is out of, 320? I don't know, it's about 10% of the population or so. It also helped black folks out because the median wealth of white households are 12 times higher than the median wealth of black households without the student debt that goes to a ratio of 5 to 1. So that's better for the race gap. Universal student debt cancellation could boost the GDP by as much as $108 billion per year and add up to 1.5 million jobs per year, both over a 10-year period. 40,000 old people have had their Social Security garnished, taken away from them due to their student loan debt. You have a lot of people that leave the country because they don't want to pay the student loan debt, parent plus loans. I mean, if you get fucked over, right, how many people go to school and don't even get a degree? So now you just got a $10,000 fucking bill. Thanks a lot, goddamn university motherfuckers. What, because I didn't become pretentious, obnoxious, irrelevant, pointless assholes like you? Now I got all this debt. What? How does that help anybody? Hey, if you're just stuck up and you're a pretentious asshole and you oppress others, you will be successful. Just be like me. Be like you or obey you, and let you get the money while we sit here and do all this free labor. Maybe even give you free ideas, and then you go and cash off of those free ideas. A bunch of parents have taken out loans to help their kids out. There's one guy, Ray. He borrowed $136,000 to help his 2 children's higher education out using these Parent Plus loans. So 4% over $100,000. 13% of parents with Parent Plus loans owe more than $50,000. So, and then 30% of all dollars in default are held by borrowers who owe over $50,000. So not doing not canceling student debt across the board. You're going to allow a big chunk of, essentially the debt that's harming, if we're intelligent, if we college students are smart, yeah, we got duped, yeah, we got fucked over, yeah, college isn't at all what I expected. Now, I do feel like I know enough to be dangerous. I can, reference my sources, which is really just be consistent. You don't even need to use, MBLA or their specific exact definitions. But when they told me that, you got to read this, and I'm like, God, I hate this oppression, I would read other shit. So, whereas I did get the degree so I could say, hey, I got credentials, I truly believe that my educational experience is better because I rejected their education, whereas I educated myself, and that being the most powerful form of education. Abraham Lincoln educated himself. A lot of these, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Zuckerberg, they all dropped out of college. Now they're fucking billionaires, almost trillionaires. So that seems to be, that's the point you wake up is when you say, fuck college, fuck school. I need to get out there and do shit for myself. I need to know shit for myself. And what an awful goddamn lesson, college. Jesus Christ. I feel stupid because I actually read the textbooks. I went to class actually wanting a discussion amongst, each other, amongst colleagues. As teachers, we could have taught each other. We'd be practicing our craft. We would have been learning it, even better. And then we would have been building up relationships, networks with other students. But instead of, building up networks and getting information that we actually need to know or haven't experienced, it was just a big fucking waste. It was a big money game, and it was one big wasteful money game. And that's a goddamn shame because they got the buildings, they have, the placements, they got the yard, the greenery, so they got the space. They got the space, they got a centralized location to, be able to move the community forward, but they're not doing it. So I was going to get into her planks and more information on Bernie Sanders, so I have to do that coming up. But I like Ilhan Omar and Bernie Sanders' student debt cancellation plan. Okie dokie.